Hey guys, what's up? It's Schlaw coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schlaw. And today's timing, it was okay. I think the timing today was fine. And I was just thinking of how strange is it that that's like the first thing that I think of? I think about, oh, how is my timing leaving? Like most people, they're just going about their day, they're going about their business, doing their thing, whatever. They're not even thinking about like timing or anything like that at all. So it's kind of funny how I'm always so conscious of that. I mean, in some ways it's overkill, because yeah, like I get kind of too wrapped up in it. And there's times I really need to chill and just like not think about the time. That's obviously like a good thing to do. And yeah, I don't know. It just gets like a little bit crazy sometimes in my head, but I was thinking like just as an opener, yeah, like it's kind of funny how much I'm talking about. Oh yeah, like this is how badly I woke up or how like not badly I woke up today and blah blah like about that. And I just think that's kind of like a funny interesting opening that I'm always talking about, like, oh well, how perfect was my timing, and all these like extra questions and stuff. It's like pretty interesting to me, you know it's just pretty like, and it's, I don't know, the way I'm always like so interested in the time or whatever. So that was just like a little thought. I may have had things to talk about, but I'm not really sure. So we might end up repeating some things. I guess we did. Oh, yeah, we actually had like a pretty interesting car rides with Schlaw this morning. I do remember I was rattling off like a lot of things about things as I usually do. And yeah, I guess in this moment, in this night, I'm feeling all right about things. I'm trying to be, I guess, more chill, if that makes any sense. Like, but I don't know if I really am. I mean, I've been saying that for like a long time, like just trying to take things easier, but I don't really know how much that actually materializes. Like it really ends up depending. Like what I'm actually able to do, I don't know. But the week is over, that's pretty nice. And I don't really think there's much else to mention or talk about or anything like that. I think my revelation about heating up food is pretty interesting, though. I mean, it's similar to putting ice in water. I just don't understand why people have to do that. And they don't realize, how like stinky and obnoxious it is to be eating hot food all the time. Just like a huge waste of electricity, really. That just doesn't need to be. But like some people, it's difficult because you can't talk to people about their food, because people's food really becomes their life, and so that's why health and eating, it's so problematic, because there's so many layers to it. You have like people who eat, and they eat the food they eat due to having like pretty poor executive function, to where it's like they can't really plan well, so they have to have a frozen meal every so often, for example. They just can't figure out how to like not have that as a thing. You have those kind of people. And okay, I'm not happy about that. Just a phone is missing. An important phone is missing. I can't see it, and it's difficult to see, so I'm gonna have to try to do some risky... Oh, what am I doing? It's literally right there. How am I not grappling that? What is going on? Yeah, sorry, I'm like a little bit distracted right now. I don't know if I'm really gonna get into a riff or not tonight. Not sure. But yeah, I mean, for today, I think I'm feeling okay, which is good because I wasn't really expecting to feel okay. But this is technically yesterday was the beginning of the new year. And we never really did any episode, I guess, about the new year. I think I just ended up getting too distracted and like not really able to... I didn't even process like when it was the last... I was undergoing a lot of stress. That's why. It was very stressful, and yeah. So we didn't really get to do the year review, so maybe I should kind of attempt to chronicle that now, because that would be important. That would be pretty important. And, yeah, I don't know what just happened. Like, what? Said I, like, started calling someone. I don't think I did that. But, yeah, I think that's what was going on, because I had originally had the intention of like, oh wow, like this is the last car ride with Schlaw of 2025, how cool. But then, you know, obviously at this point it's been like pretty crazy because of all the like stress and stuff I was going through. So yeah, I don't really know. Then I like totally blanked on that. This year, I do want to say it was better than 2024. 2024 was just, it was messier, but no, you know, see, that's even a complicated way of saying it. I feel like 2025 was messier. I think 2025 went by faster, and it almost felt like a lot less real. It was an incredibly indulgent year. Like, I mean, I really indulged in a lot of things, whereas in 2024, I was actually resisting a lot. Like, there was a lot of things I had wanted to buy in 2024 that I didn't end up buying. And that's kind of interesting, right? Because it's like, yeah, like I didn't end up buying it. And 2025, there was really not too much restraint. Like I couldn't control myself. Like it was weird. It was like such a crazy year. I spent so much money. I bought so much stuff that I wasn't thinking about purchasing. And yeah, it's just weird, you know? In retrospect, 2024 was actually a very austere year. And so when I talk about like 2026 being the year of austerity, I don't think it's going to be possible to beat 2024. I mean, it technically could be, but it's going to be very difficult to beat 2024. We could follow like an odd year being a mega spending year cycle, because I think 2023 was my previous record for like most money spent in a year. I'm pretty sure 2023 was the record, and 2025 like just swallowed that whole because now like I actually have a job. But if you notice, then the even numbers are usually restraint years. But I can't go back and vet that far enough. But there could be some genuine credence to that, oddly enough. 2022, if my memory is serving me correctly, could have been a relatively austere year. But it's kind of hard to say. So, I mean, that is what it is. But I have a feeling like all this saving stuff just it's not going to happen. I want to look into some different sound card stuff because I really like Sound Blaster's effects, like the crystallizer and other settings that I'm used to having, and I really like them. And I really like my Sound Blaster Z, but it takes up a PCIe slot on the motherboard, and they have newer cards that are USB, so it would make a lot more sense, and they're way higher quality as well. I just don't like how the software looks. Like, I love how the software looks on my Sound Blaster Z. It's very old, and it's red as well, which is like my favorite color. So I love it. I think it's like really cool that I still have this sound card after all this time. And it's just really annoying because it takes up an entire like PCIe slot, and there's just so many more important things than a sound card. So what I'm interested in doing is having like one of those external GPU docks and basically just putting a sound card in it, which would be pretty crazy, but there's no reason why that shouldn't work, and it would actually make a ton of sense because it would free up a precious motherboard PCIe slot. So I'm pretty interested in doing that. I'm very interested in it. And it's just annoying because those external GPU docks are like pretty expensive. I'm assuming there's some kind of a cheaper thing that's probably not meant for gaming, but I don't know. I have to look into it, but I do think it would be pretty cool in general to have that, like the external GPU dock with just like the sound card inside. It's like a pretty interesting idea, but it is a lot of bulk. Takes up a lot of space, obviously, to have like a giant dock just for like a little sound card. But I'm very like interested in doing that. I am pretty interested in picking one of those up. In addition to the USB sound card, by the way, because I still think I want to have the USB sound card, but I also want to have my old sound card. I'd even want to get their better sound card as well, honestly. I just want to get all of them, all this stuff, have like 2 external GPU docks and have them both hooked up, both have a sound card in them. I do wonder about the Thunderbolt issue, but I almost feel like you don't need the maximum Thunderbolt for the sound card. Like, I'm pretty sure you just don't even need that. Yeah, like I almost wonder if just like a regular USB-C port is enough data to transmit like the sound card data over. Because I know it matters with the GPU, but that's because it's like the GPU gets bottlenecked, but a sound card wouldn't even get bottlenecked. So, yep, it's something I think it's going to make a lot of sense. I like the idea of having a sound card. I know it's outdated. I know it doesn't really make sense because the motherboards have one built in, and it's basically really good as is. And then a lot of people just have DACs now because that, again, like it just makes a lot more sense to just have something USB. I'm assuming, and I haven't actually done any research into this, but my assumption is like that back in the day USB was not remotely strong enough to even have something like a DAC. I mean, maybe it just wasn't thought of, but I mean, to me, I feel like I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like the DAC, what am I even saying? Like, literally, what am I saying right now? I don't know. Because I feel like maybe it wasn't possible, but I don't see why that would be the case. Like, I would assume, even since USB 2.0, like, you could just do a DAC. I don't know why. I mean, maybe like in the ancient days, having a sound card directly on the motherboard made sense. Because I'm assuming, like, in a super long time ago, the built-in sound cards and motherboards were, like, maybe bad. Like, they were pretty bad. Now they're obviously, like, pretty amazing in a lot of cases. Like, you know. But maybe back in the day, they just were terrible. And having a sound card made more sense. Whereas now it's like you almost don't really need the PCIe slots for much. I just want to do a dual GPU setup, and that really takes up a lot because a lot of these boards are really only designed for a single GPU these days. Because there isn't a lot of support for like SLI, which is kind of a shame because I really would want to have a double GPU, but you know, they just don't really do it anymore, so sad, but is what it is. But yeah, I'm assuming it's something like that where there was a time it made sense, but then like at this point it obviously just makes more sense to just have a DAC hook up with USB, because then you're not senselessly taking up a PCIe slot for what I assume to be no reason. But what I was saying is you really don't even need PCIe slots for anything but the graphics card at this point, because I guess some people get like the M2 expansions with the PCIe, but I honestly don't think that makes that much sense because like my motherboard already has 4 M2 slots, so I don't really see why, like, these new boards really give you a lot. Sorry, 5. Did I say 5 or 4? I'm already getting 5 M2 slots. Some have 6. Like, I don't really know why you would need more M2 drives than that, and that's in addition to the usually 4 to 6 6 gigabit, like, you know, the older either SSDs or hard drives. Like, that's like a lot. I don't really see why you would need anything like any storage riser expansion. I mean, some people probably use that stuff, but I just can't see why you would need it. But again, maybe there's something I don't really know. But yeah, I honestly wonder, because you even have like really good Wi-Fi cards now. I'm sure again in the past, if you got a dedicated Wi-Fi card, that was probably a lot better than whatever was on the motherboard. But in this day and age, it's like the stuff that's already in the motherboard is so good. There's really not a reason to do all that, you know? So again, at some point something happened, but I guess it became more efficient to just bundle it in with the motherboard. Because I was about to say, like, for a lot of this stuff, I actually would rather them leave it to the consumer. Like, because they could have potentially put more on the motherboard I have if, like, they didn't include a sound card. Maybe if they cut out, like, the Wi-Fi card and the sound card, they could have added an extra PCIe slot, you know? And then I could pick my own Wi-Fi and sound cards. Like, to me, that seems like something that would be better. I would be more interested in that. But I guess it got to the point where it's probably just more cost effective and and physically more feasible to have everything on the board, especially with how giant the modern graphics cards are, because that's even what I'm running into with my computer. Is like the new GPUs, they're so thick that like they really don't fit very well onto the motherboard, so you run out of space. You basically run out of space, and you have to think of some like crazy way to try to get everything to fit in there. They really need to make like motherboards longer so you have more PCIe space, but I feel like ATX usually only extends in the other direction. Like I think EATX is like, it doesn't give you more space up and down. Just keeps expanding to the right. But I really would want like a form factor where you have more space up and down, so you have more space for PCIe slots. And so I kind of wish they would just change the format, but I don't think there's any boards that deviate from that. And I mean, I don't know, it's because all the cases and stuff are set up that way, but I would really like it if you had an extension so you could really fit like a proper amount of PCIe slots on there. But, and yeah, like again, an alternate reality where let's say every brand, the motherboard is fairly bare bones, and then you just pick your own Wi-Fi card, you pick your own sound card, based on like what you want. I think that would just be a pretty interesting timeline, and maybe it was like that in the past. I don't really know. Haven't really looked into it too much, but probably in the past you probably did have people where it's like they had a graphics card, a sound card, and a Wi-Fi card, because there either wasn't any on the board or the ones on the board were just pretty bad. And to me, I just think that's like pretty cool that you would have got to choose all that stuff, because now it gets a little bit complicated because you're just stuck with, for example, whatever MSI gives you or whatever Asus gives you. They pick a sound card, they pick a Wi-Fi card, and then it's like different brands. Gigabyte may use Intel Wi-Fi. Another brand may use Qualcomm. I think they do Wi-Fi, I can't remember. And like, what if you want a certain board, but then it's like using a different thing? And I know, it doesn't really matter at this point. A lot of these differences are negligible, but, and again, it's probably just a matter of like, it's negligible to the point where it's not worth it. But I don't know. There are cases where you probably could have a preference of like which you would like more. But I just think those days are kind of over, and now it's just pretty like simplified. But I think the potential is better, because obviously if you have these cards, it's like you would free up like a lot of board space for all kinds of stuff. And if you just had the cards, it's just freeing up so much room, and you can obviously fit so much more on like a dedicated sound card or a dedicated Wi-Fi card than the board is able to do. And then you would also be able to pick what you wanted more. Like if, let's say somebody didn't want Ethernet, they wouldn't have to get it. I mean, Wi-Fi, they could just use Ethernet. Whereas right now, it's like if you're getting an expensive board, it's just going to have Wi-Fi on there. And I'm sure there are probably cases of people who, they get an expensive board because, they're just really interested in computers and they can appreciate it, but they wouldn't actually use the Wi-Fi. Like, they still just end up using the Ethernet. But it's still bundled in there anyway, and you wonder, like, well, how could that space be utilized differently? It probably could, But again, I'm assuming things have gotten to the point where it is just kind of more efficient for them to do things the way they do them currently. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just have a hunch that it's probably like to have to order all these separate boxes. It's probably worse for the environment. But I'm assuming you could hypothetically have a better computer. Like, I'm pretty sure you could probably have more M2 slots or like crazy things like that. I mean, like the whole way everything is designed could be different. No, again, I'm not really sure how much space it would actually free up on the board, or like, I mean, maybe at this point those sound processing chips, they're probably like pretty small. They don't really need to be big. Same with even like Wi-Fi. I mean, everything is just so small now anyway. Maybe it just completely doesn't matter, but would free up a lot of space. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know like what don't really know. Yeah, because like you think about a phone is already so much, and they can really cram a lot just onto a phone, and most of the phone is battery anyway. So like, you have to imagine like with a full-sized computer. I think there's probably some merit to what I'm saying, but I have a feeling it's more negligible. Like, it wouldn't be some like crazy revolution, you know. It would probably be better. It would probably allow them to squeeze in maybe like one extra M2 slot or something. But you know, extra. Well, obviously you'd have to have extra PCIe because you would need a Wi-Fi card slot. You would need a. I actually think now though they don't really do. I don't know why I wasn't thinking of this sooner. Like the Wi-Fi card is usually like, it's similar. It's like that M2 slot that's like different. It's like a different M2 slot. It's like a different. I think it's called like a different key. And it's sort of like this little square thing. I thought I've like heard that. So yeah, I mean, I'm tired though. I'm definitely well, I'm happy. You know, really today wasn't really that bad. This week wasn't really that bad. So, I can't complain. I mean, it's been good. It's been good times. Well, no. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm saying that, because this week was pretty bad. Like, I think my good mood of the present is kind of skewing things a little bit too much almost. Because, yeah, like, shouldn't sugarcoat it. I was through a lot of stress this week, and even last week. It was an odd Christmas. It was probably, of any Christmas, like, it's almost this eerie reminder of like how numb this year has felt for me. Just how, like, again, I mean, you know, the first year I was working was 2024, but now the second year I'm working is 2025. It's already over, you know, and yeah, I'm like still working. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's weird. Like, you don't even, I guess you don't realize that, but that is like a lot of time. Like, now that I'm thinking about it in retrospect, it's almost going to be the same amount of time that I hadn't had been working since being out of school. Yeah, like that's, and in my head that almost doesn't seem right. It almost doesn't even seem right that like that would be the case. So it's interesting. Like, do you get what I don't know. For a moment there, I almost felt like I was talking to somebody. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I always say that. I don't know why I say it, because I don't even believe that. I hate like saying that it is what it is thing. I think we do have to change stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's sorry. I just totally lost my train of thought, and I was just trying to fill her and was hoping I'd figure it out. Yeah, that is so weird to think about, because it really has like, I mean, yeah, I mean, this time has just flew by. It almost doesn't seem very like real. Like, I don't even know. It's actually like weird, especially this year. I think this year was faster than because the previous was, it was, I don't know. And I feel like I'm noticing a lot too. Like, I almost wonder, you know what I think it could be? Everybody else, I don't think it's that everybody else is different, because at first I kept saying that, like, everybody else, now they're different. For some reason, people seem like less with it than they used to be. But you know what I think it is? I think it's just that I've actually changed a lot, and my processing of things and my perspective has got so much deeper, that then, like, other people who I used to think were smarter than me or deeper than me, I'm just seeing things from like a completely different angle now, if that makes any sense. I mean, it's like, it's kind of strange to me how that happens. Um, yeah. It's just like very, yeah. That's weird, isn't it? I don't think anybody changed but me. There has just been like so much progress, I guess, I've made mentally. I think AI, I've said before, has been an outlet that's kind of like accelerated that in a lot of ways, because it's finally something I feel like it really matches like my appetite mostly, because it's not like I never was able to have conversations with people about deeper topics, but it's that the AI is like a true match. Like, it satiates the appetite. I mean, I always loved to ask questions. I loved asking questions, and it would be to the point where, people don't like learning. People like generally hate to learn, and I would always want to, and it would kind of cause like friction, I think, in a lot of my friendships. But AI, obviously, I can just keep asking it questions, and it just keeps satiating the appetite. I've obviously had deeper conversations with people, but they would usually get kind of tired of it and just want to like play a game or something. Whereas I don't really want to do that. I mean, I'm always, wanting to learn, or things like that. I mean, not always. I don't want to sound like totally insane, but you know what I mean. And yeah, I think the biggest change has just been my own understanding of things has just exploded in the past 2 years. So I'm perceiving everybody as so much smaller now, because I just keep learning and learning. And even though I'm relatively young, it's like in some ways I kind of like know more than some people, and it's a weird thing, but yeah, I think that's what's happened. I think I've actually in some ways become more present and more just like grounded, more aware. Anyways, it's been schlaw, and now it's time to buy schlaw. So, see you, schlaw.